So I think this is the 7th in our series A Year at Tunnel, which, as the name suggests, is me fishing a match every day for a year and just seeing how we get on, very much as a average Joe angler, probably stretching it a bit below average Joe angler I think, and just sort of charting progress and how I get on, how the venue fishes. And today it's a Saturday Open, and we have drawn, it's on Newpool, just on Newpool today. I think there's about 17 of us, and we're on New 13, and it's quite a mild day, meant to be a moderate breeze, hasn't fully got up yet, sort of blowing from left to right here. And I don't know how I feel about this. It's a relatively shallow peg, which is kind of what we'd probably be wanting, to be fair. So I was just hoping we have a few. I've struggled a lot since we've been doing this series. I've struggled to catch, so it would be nice to have a few today. Anyway, usual form. We'll catch up at the All-In, do an update every hour, and then I'll do a wrap up tomorrow. And yeah, let's just hope it's a nice day for it. Anyway, catch you at the All-In. Okay, it's the All-In. So, the plan, such as it is we're going to have a little bit of a dob out here, just for about I don't want to spend really more than 20 minutes doing this. It's quite mild today. It turned mild yesterday. It's been a funny week. It's kind of been in line with what it's done for the last month, really, which is kind of the sort of mildish, lots of rain, easterly, southeasterly wind, but not freezing cold. And then just on Friday it changed a little, and it's gone milder. It's gone quite a bit milder. I think in the day it's been going up to about 14 degrees. I don't know what it's due to get up to today, but I think it's about 40. Yeah, that was the fish. Having not caught one on camera, well, not that we've got this in yet, but not having caught one on camera at all last week, it's kind of nice to actually catch one. Even though it's stocky, it's not huge. There we go, it's nicely unhooked itself as well. It's very cooperative of it. And Alex has got one. I'm sandwiched between Alex and Pete Rice. So seems to need to change my hook length there. But yeah, so nice to actually catch one there. So what we're going to do is we're going to dob for about 20 minutes. And then probably fish maggot across. And the idea being, trying to avoid the first, I'm hoping to catch on my margins later on, but I don't want to do what I've been doing in recent weeks, just going on my margin after an hour. So I really just want 2 hours in my margins, and no more than that. And so I'm hoping 2.5 hours maybe. I'm hoping to try and catch across or on the deck, sort of bottom of the hut for our shelf, and see how we get on. And then cut down my margins later on. That is the operating plan. Alright, a few been caught. Alex has had one. Chap on 6 has had one. It's been mild, so in principle, it could fish its nuts off today. You do get these days in February when it goes a bit mild and they really have a feed, and it's been quite breezy in the last week. So it might be one of those days it's really good, but it may well be that it hasn't had time to warm up properly as well. So, well, try not to judge it too early. So if I just started, I'll see if we could catch a few dobbing, which we have. That was probably a decent start. But, yeah, so I think I'm hoping sort of margins short as well. These might be areas we might do catch quite nicely. But I think you're going to need close to £100 today to win the match. Maybe 80 is my guess. Could well be wrong. But not fishing very long. I say a few been caught, so we'll see. Anyway, I'll check in with you in about an hour. Let you know. There's a bite. I'm going to stay on this for a second. So the plan is we'll give you an hourly update and then have a sort of fuller wrap up tomorrow. It doesn't look as if it's sitting right. Fuller update tomorrow. We've had a chance to catch up on the results and decompress a little bit. And yeah, we'll see you in about an hour. Right, we're an hour in. And we've had 13 F1s just dobbing bread across these reeds. Now that sounds very exciting, but they have been small, very much stockies. But at least I'm catching a few. And I think while I'm doing that, I'll carry on because I'm not feeding, and let's just save my lines for later. Alex is started dobbing as well, so I know he's catching a few. And Pete Rise to my right, the Legend Pete Rise, he's down his left edge at the moment and he's catching there. The problem I've got here is they're no stamp at all really. So if I've had 13, I'm not sure I've got £10, but you know, at least I'm catching a few. Looking around, and this is typical me, looking around, there's not absolutely masses being caught. I can just see Leon on 44 there, just netted one. There's a few coming out, it's certainly not rock hard, that's for sure. But I'm only meant to dob on this for 20 minutes max, but there we go. Yeah, when you're catching, don't come off it. just be nice if they were a bit bigger. But, you know, if I could keep myself occupied so my plan today is try and keep out my margins for a while. And this gives me a little bit of entertainment to try and stop me going there. But you can see that is not a huge fish, but it is a fish. Not wholly sure I got the depth right here. That was in the bottom lip, so I'll have a little judge. But effectively I'm fishing across the reeds, daubing bread. If I can get some bread. In about 2 foot. Well, actually, fishing off the reeds seems to be better than absolutely on the reeds. So that's 14 fish. If I keep ticking over on this for a while, I mean, it's got to peter out at some stage, I'm sure, but I haven't really explored much of this. It's not like I've had a quick look down the reeds off to my left, and I've had a couple there. I haven't spent a lot of time there. There's been plenty off to this right hand side. But while I'm catching, I think once this drops off a bit, I'm not sure exactly what I do. I've got the option of going across into the shallower water, kind of between the two reed beds, fishing maggots. Or expander and micros, one of the two. Or sort of out in the deeper water at about sort of the bottom of the far shelf and see what I can have there. That's the aim. This breadseed's best when it's fresh on the hook and it's kind of compressed. I don't feel that once it's expanded it's quite the same. Anyway, good start. I don't think we'll, you know... Oh, yeah, there's another one. Having said that, being off the reed bed, the last few have been against the reed bed. But the good thing about today is the first time really I've had a far bank to work to that's reachable by me. And that's smacking the top lip. Anyway, that's where we are. Trucking along. We'll just keep working at this and see where we end up. And I'll catch up with you in about an hour. So we're 2 hours in, and I think we're about 23 F1s now. I've dogged most of the last 2 hours, and it slowed down in that second hour to some degree, but I found some bigger fish as I moved down the reed bed to the right. And I'm just having a feed now, and there's a fish, there we go, nothing like self-hooking. So I've done that for a couple of hours, as I said, 23 fish on it. But I've just, I say, the stamp got better as I went down that to my right and got further away from myself. And I've just started feeding over there. Just feeding maggots across, tapping in a few. I was a bit too mild with the go expanders or not. Well, decided on the maggots in the end. Not quite sure what the logic was in the end. What was that, 24 fish? But as I said, the bulk of being stocky, so I'm not putting the biggest weight together. But I suppose I've maybe got £20 after 2 hours. Alex has just had one out, ticking over. Pete's ticking over. Pete's always dangerous towards the end as well. He always gets a good run at the end. And I can see Leon on 44, and I've seen he'd netted a few decent fish. I've just got about, if the wind stops, got about 3 foot over there. And yeah, the aim today was to try and entertain myself and stay away from the margins. Yeah, there's another one. It's better fish, I think. And oh, that was off. Didn't feel right. Yeah. Little scale on it. Yeah, so the idea was to keep off the margins, but now I've sort of completely forgotten about the margins. I need to prime those up shortly. I'm just going to feed on this occasion. But I'm hoping that we can catch in the margins and we'll have a, and short maybe. Late on and get a run, but at least we've given ourselves a start. And yeah, I think last week's episode, I don't think we managed to have a fish on camera, so to actually hook a few is there's another one. That's come off as well. Maybe there's, but if we can keep ticking over on this, particularly if this is good for an hour, then I'll prime my margins when I come back in next time. And hopefully we can tick over, shortening the margins nicely for the last couple of hours and build a decent weight. That's a strange sign out there at the moment. Anyway, after 2 hours, I'm guessing we got about £20, something like that. So a lot better than we have been doing, which is a bit of a relief. Anyway, I'll catch up with you in the 3rd hour and let you know how I'm doing. So, we are 3 hours in. And just having a little look short. Not really got any great expectations on this, but I don't know what I got when I spoke to you last, but we just started fishing across on maggots, and that has been okay. I think about 35 fish. We're ticking over on that, and it's been fairly steady. So I guess I probably had 10 fish in the last hour. Not been massive stamp, but not tiny stockies either. So I don't know, maybe got 30 pound, I don't know. I could be miles out today. I'm not used to actually catching, so my counting has gone a bit astray. I also don't know what net I've been putting these in, so I'm not sure where I've got particularly balanced nets. Not expecting to catch anything on this line. At this stage at least. I think this is probably a line that's we might get something in the last half hour. But I felt it was worth a quick look just to see if we could nab one. So if we do, it's likely to be a decent stamp on this line. But sort of thinking through what to do next really. I have potted my edges, so it would seem rude not to do that. I've got the option of going back across. I've got the option of sort of setting up a track line. Not sure that was a sign or not. People are catching. I don't think it's absolutely solid, but people are catching. So I don't know what you're going to need today. I don't want to spend too long on this, but it's worth a quick look. I've been throwing some maggots down my left edge, so that's possibly worth a quick look as well in a minute. Just see if we can catch a few down there. And then we'll, I think, go and have a look in these margins and see if we can tick over on that. Because if we can tick over well on that, and I'm inclined to use corn. We're pretty much approaching that time of year where corn is good. You have a little bit sort of, I think there's this little window of corn time before the meat kicks in. And I'm hoping with it being milder today, and they obviously want to have a few, that we might get a few on that line. But as I say, 3 hours in, and a lot better than it has been in recent weeks. We're actually going to have something to weigh in, if we don't catch much from here on in. But the key thing is not trying to waste this good start, and hopefully try and have a few. Anyway, I'll catch up with you in an hour. I'll let you know how I'm getting on. Well, this is the start of the final hour, so 4 hours in. And yeah, we were going great guns until the last hour, and classic case of spinning my wheels a bit really. I haven't really been able to make the edge work. Just come up short. Let's see if I can catch one on there. Well, I couldn't really make my edges work. This feels a bit fell roots. And I've just had, I've only added 2 fish. One was a stocky, one was a decent fish. I went back across if I could have one. That's in the tail. Really come off. And yeah, classic case of spinning my wheels really. But I mean, at least I was catching prior to that, so give myself a little wiggle room. I've identified a couple of other edge lines now, which I'm going to have a look at and let's concentrate on the edge, and it's either going to work or it's not. I have got a backup line. I've potted some maggots out in open water for a track line, so if this doesn't work I've got somewhere to go with half an hour. But at least there's one come in on that. At least we've had one. In fact, this fowl looked probably isn't. It's going to mean we're not going to immediately get another one, but we'll have a look. Yeah, people catching. I keep looking up there, and Sam on 19 seems to be catching. Difficult what volumes people are catching, because you've got to net everything. So there we go. It's very nice if this line came good. Again, not entirely sure how clean that is. And that is not the best bit of throwing. Do like it when that short line goes. But, again, just underneath the chin, that one. But I'll keep looking short, so I've got a couple of margin lines I can go on. And that takes me up to about 40 fish, I think, but the stamp hasn't been massive, so I don't know what that means, but it really would be lovely to have a nice last hour. Oh, do it really, I mean, the irony of all of this is that in the last, pretty much since Christmas, the only place I've been able to catch is my margins. And then we get to a situation like today that I've caught well across and I can't catch them with margins. It's a bit of a head scratcher, that one. I'm not going to go on this for too long. At least there's some signs. At least we've had a couple of quick fish on that. So I don't know what we've got. I think I've got 40 fish, but I could have lost count along the way. I could have less than that. So lost count, increase the count at some point, which I'm prone to doing. Certainly could do with another £10 or so in this last hour. But yeah, I can't complain. At least we've had a few, which fish have been very hard to come by since Christmas. So, oh, that was a bite. Anyway, we'll have a catch up just before the end and let you know how I'm getting on. Okay, a couple of minutes to go before the end, and we have ticked over in the last hour. I shortened my margins up, and that's just been better. My longer margins just weren't quite right, and I don't know, maybe had 10, 12 on here. So I don't know what I've got now, but just sort of tapping in a bit of ground bait and just fishing maggots on the hook. It's been okay. A short line, I think the only ones I had out of it were the ones when I was on camera before. Might have had another. I keep looking at it, keep thinking it's going to come good. And sit there and the float doesn't move. So these margins have been better. They're not absolutely prolific. Don't know how we've done really. Alex to my left is catching well. I think he's well ahead of me now. Pete's catching as well. So I think everybody's catching. Certainly a few coming out today. Whenever I look up toward 19, Sam's catching. So I don't know what sort of weight we're looking at. I suspect somebody's going to be on them somewhere. I fancied that sort of back channel around 35. The Vets match was won off 35 on Thursday. And I think because of the teams of 4, that far channel where 35, 36, 38 is, hasn't been fished as part of that. And it wouldn't surprise me if they backed off there. Somebody might have a nice day catching them in the shallower water there. But looking around, there's nobody absolutely bagging, but it's certainly been a lot better days fishing than we've had of late. Oh, might have been a bite finally. And I don't really care where I come today, to be perfectly honest. I'm just absolutely delighted to put more than sort of £20 in the net, which we've been really struggling to do in recent weeks. There we go. All over. But nice day, nice mild day. Few to be caught. There's Sam just one. So I don't know. Can't complain. Lovely days fishing. And anyway, we'll weigh in. See how we've done. See how other people have done. And I'll do a catch up tomorrow and give you an update. So yeah, until tomorrow, I'll catch you then.
So, usual form, quick catch up after yesterday's match. And just to give a little bit of context, this is a year at Tunnel, which is me fishing a match a week for a year, not a match per day, as I said in the intro to the video, and just doing it from the perspective of very much an average Joe angler, and just sort of giving some feedback as to how I get on, but how the fishing changes during the year. So in terms of yesterday's match, as you probably saw, I said I was going to hob across for 20 minutes, hadn't really banked on catching as well as I did, so 20 minutes became 2 hours. And yeah, I guess I probably had about 20 pounds after 2 hours. It's just nice fishing. And mostly quite small stockies, but as I actually moved along that reed line towards 10, I started to pick up some bigger fish. So it's quite nice fishing. And then we've done that for 2 hours, and as that started to wane, I've gone on across in 3 foot, fishing double maggot. I was tapping in a few maggots, and that was good for an hour. Again, I probably stuck another 10 pounds in that third hour. And then I came onto my margin lines, and the fourth, as I said, just span my wheels really. Just one of those things, to be honest. I'd selected a couple of margin lines, longer margin lines. I potted those a couple of times during the match. And when I went on them, it just wasn't really right. The left-hand one, I had one big F1, then I had a branch, and the right hand one I had a series of foul hookers, and I had one stocky. And on the left hand one, a few times as I struck on bites, I've hit something. I was just so it just didn't seem to be right. And the problem was there was enough happening, enough going on to sort of keep me interested. But it's amazing that the good thing about doing what I'm doing on this, where I sort of give an update every hour, you kind of get a feel for where the match gets away from you a bit. And that fourth hour, I mean, I only had 2 fish, so that was a bit of a disaster. Got it back on track in the end. You did see me catch right at the start of the 5th hour, had a couple short, but those are the only ones that I caught short. Never really happened. And what I did do was change my margin lines, brought them a little bit closer to me, and was able to tick over quite well on those. I probably had a dozen fish in the last hour. So that was just tapping in a little bit of ground bait and fishing maggots on the hook, and that's all I did, and that was enough to tick over quite well. And off the back of that, I think I weighed in 50-pound dead, which is okay. We'll talk about the results. So I've got the results in front of me here. So the match, so we exclusively fished on you, 17 of us, and it's been won by Andy Benwell, and he was on peg 29, and he's had 118 pounds. And then next up was Leon Seabright. He was on 44, and he's had 85 pounds. Then Alex Major to my left on 15 has 79 pounds. I'll carry on to top 6 just so I can mention Simon. And Jimmy Easton was 4th. He's had 77 pounds off 31. So you can see there was a bit of a nexus there, 29, 31, 44, which has been the case the last few weeks. It's a good area, that, and that's definitely where they are at the moment. And then 5th was Andrew Penn on 25. He had 74 pounds. And then my Misfits teammate Simon Bowen was 6th with 73 pounds from peg 1. So it's fished pretty well, as you kind of expect. Once you get into this sort of February days where the days are getting longer and you get a milder day, then yeah, it tends to fish well. It was forecast to be a sort of moderate breeze, but never felt that really got up, so that was good. The rain held off until we were packing up, so that wasn't bad at all. So I was 12th overall out of 17, so we'll call that mid-table mediocrity, but that's pretty much what I aspire to really at this moment in time. Still early days for me as an angler. I can't use that excuse for too much longer, but I've only been fishing for 4 or 5 years, so I'm still finding my feet a little bit against these guys, but could have been a lot worse. In terms of my match, look, good. I've not caught that many fish dobbing before, so that was fun. It was nice to do that. There's only going to be one more match next Saturday where I can dob, because you can't fish bread after the end of February, and then that starts again at the beginning of October, I think. So yeah, I can dob other things, but I can't dob bread after Saturday. But it was good to catch on that. It was good to catch well on the first 3 hours. Good to catch full stop. I'm beginning to feel this channel was a bit of a case of the curse of the camera, that we were never going to catch anything on the channel. So it was nice actually to catch a few fish. Rather ironically, I've done okay with my margins, but I struggled a bit with my margins this week, but you can't have everything. Don't have any massive regrets. I don't think I got many things wrong. I think that 4th hour, sometimes you just, and you don't, when you plumb up a line and select a line, you don't know what's underneath that water. There could be all sorts of sort of branches and debris, and you know, those 2 initial lines just weren't quite right. And then when I moved them, they were a lot better. So it's just one of those things. It's not a lot you can do about it. I guess there's a few things I sort of thought about, maybe when that sort of maggot line in the 3rd hour sort of petered out, because I caught well on that. When that sort of petered out a bit, maybe I could have selected a different swim, perhaps where I was catching some of the bigger F1s towards 10. That might have been a good way of doing things. I wish I'd put in and primed a track line earlier, so I could have tried that sort of, at about sort of 10 meters off to my right. I did prime one, but it was a bit late and I never looked at it. And I do wish I'd put in a bit of a sweet corn line. I did try sweet corn and have a bite on it, but I didn't give it for very long. But if I would put in a specific sweet corn line and at least just tested that. But by and large, I don't think I got things massively wrong. And so I've had 50 pounds. Maybe if I got it absolutely right, maybe I would have had 60 pounds, but that wouldn't have done much for us anyway. So the conclusions were it was a lovely day's fishing, the weather was nice, it was mild, and there were fish to be caught, and it doesn't get any better than that. Anyway, that's it for this week. Next Saturday again is back being an open, I think, so we will fish that, all being well. And I think it's very much opens moving forward, but we head into, I think, effective, the start of March is the Summer League. So this is really where you've got the chance to qualify for the grand final in September. I don't know what the qualification criteria are this year, but you've got to kind of win or be in the top 3, I think, to qualify. So we'll see what the rules are. Those will come out shortly. Didn't qualify last year. I have to say it was quite tough to get into that final, but certainly something that's going to keep us going through the spring and summer. Haven't looked at the forecast for next week, but I'm going to do that while I'm online here. So let's have a quick look at the weather. So weather for Warwick next Saturday is looking like sort of more of the same, about 10 degrees, a bit of light rain. It says a gentle breeze, about 10 mile an hour southwesterly, so very much the same conditions as today. So could be good fishing, so we'll look forward to that and hopefully catch up with you then.